Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Joining us on the line now is Susan George, a much-loved TV and film actress, having worked with everyone from Dustin Hoffman and Peter Fonda to Roger Moore and Tony Curtis. She was married to fellow actor Simon MacCorkindale, who sadly lost his battle with cancer in 2010. Susan launched a charity in his name called Lasting Life, which supports those living with or affected by cancer. And we spoke a few weeks ago about the charity, so it's lovely to have her back with us to talk about her amazing career. How are you, Susan?
Hello, sweetheart. I'm very fine, thank you. Very hot. It's hot here. It's hot everywhere, isn't it? But you're in your country, where you are, it should be hot. And here we're mega hot for England, but it's lovely. I love it. It bothers me that everyone says, everyone waits for, everyone waits for the heat, and then when it comes, it's so hot, it's so hot.
It's
lovely.
True.
I think it's wonderful.
Oh, nice. Enjoy. Yes, I'm sure all the beer gardens are full. Everyone rushes to the beer gardens at the pubs, don't they?
I should think they do, darling. What is it with you there today?
I think you're hotter than us. The British press will be first to say hotter than Spain. I think we're about, I don't know, 28, something like that.
Yeah, and supposedly we just looked actually here on the farm, 29.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go.
29
Enjoy.
Yeah, that's hard. It's the most difficult part. There is no difficulty for me because I absolutely love it. But it is tough on the horses. And they're all out. Fortunately, the grounds, my fabulous farm and all the fields, there's shelter in all the fields. All the fields.
They have shade.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was asked last year and the year before if I would take a grant to make hedges, which is what loads and loads of people do around here. And it's very smart. It's beautifully smart. And they pay you for doing it. But I wouldn't dream of doing that because we have wild trees, lots of them. And the trees make shelter, breeze and shelter, which is really lovely for them.
Yeah, very important. So let's go right back to the beginning, if you don't mind. How and why did you get into acting?
Well, once upon a time, oh my God, just let me turn that off.
Don't worry.
Sorry.
Right.
I need to turn that off. I need to turn that to silent, otherwise we will get bothered. So sorry.
No problem.
Well, I guess it was my mother's dream, really. I don't quite, how I was thinking the other day, it's really sad that in today's world, at least I think, I wish I'd asked my parents more about life before I came along. I really, really do, because it's something you don't, and I hope people do it, younger generation do it about their families today, because it's something I knew a lot about my parents, but I didn't know why my mother, I call her she's not my mum, I never called her mum. My mother, and she hated being called mum as well. She did not like being called mum. Mummy was what I called my mother. I think that she, early on in her life, actually had a career on the stage. I see lots of pictures, and my mother's godmother was Hetty King. So I see lots of things from the past that lead me to believe that this was a vicarious move in putting her daughter on the stage. She used to use the phrase, "Don't put your daughter on the stage, Mrs. Worthington," but she did. She did. And I think she just figured out when I was very, very young, when I was tiny, that I was a reasonably pretty child. And I was doing commercials, all sorts of things. My first commercial I did when I was 5 years old. I've got pictures of me. Absolutely. So I was there from the beginning. That was what we were doing. And she was sort of chaperoning me and being a real typical show business mother in the most lovely way. But that's what she was doing. And so she really chose that career for me. And then, after all that I did 12 television plays before I was 12 years old. And then, I know, it's a lot, isn't it? And then I've got all that history, which is lovely to look back at all those productions, And then there came a time, when I was 11, I was at Holy Trinity Primary School, a regular school, and my mother wanted me to continue into an acting career. That's what she had chosen for me in my life. My father was very skeptical about it all because he always said that I had too soft a heart for this business. That's what he truly believed. And he was probably right in one way, really right in one way. So when I was 11 years old at Holy Trinity Primary School, there was a discussion at home. We had a family meeting about where I was going to go next and whether I was going to go to grammar school or whether I could go to a drama school. And my father said, let's base it on your results for the 11 plus. So we did. And I failed. I failed, but I intended to fail. That's the
okay,
naughty
you're
part.
clever.
I intended to fail. I did not make a good job of my maths paper. I mean, math has never been the great subject for me anyway, but I made an absolute clear didn't know for my maths paper, and I failed. And I had a lovely, lovely teacher called Mr. Robinson, who they later brought back on my This Is Your Life.
Oh,
and
lovely.
Honestly, and Mr. Robinson said to our headmaster, Mr. Burdell, who was cross that I hadn't passed Mr. Burdell, and he said, don't force something on Susie that isn't her. You know, she's got such flair, and she's a lovely, lovely girl, and what she wants to do is something quite different, and I think we ought to be working for that, not something she doesn't want to do. And this is Mr. Robinson. He was amazing, and he said, let's have her cry over her maths paper. That would be ludicrous. This is not her thing. Let's stand by what she wants to do, which is so gorgeous.
Yeah,
so
what a great teacher.
He was. And as I say, they did bring him back on my This Is Your Life. I was in tears when I saw him because he had been the champion. He'd been the one who'd actually been right there when I needed to turn that corner, when I needed to do that for myself. And so I went on to Corona Academy for Dramatic Art. Corona was fantastic, and I started there when I was 12 years of age. And I auditioned like all kids did. It was a wonderful school. You did the academic side in the morning, and then there was a parole at lunchtime, and we all came to the assembly at lunchtime. And at lunchtime, they would announce the auditions for the afternoon and who would be going to certain auditions based on their capability, what they were able to do. And that's how it all happened. And I have to say, I was there a very short time before I was being sent out and doing things all the time, which I absolutely loved. And then my first big audition was something that I think you'd find very interesting. My first big audition was for at the Palladium in London. The Shaftesbury Avenue. It was the original production, second original production. Know what you're talking about, Susie. It was the second production after the original of The Sound of Music. And there was a big audition. They were auditioning 300 children. And it was announced in my class that they were auditioning 300 children and who could sing. And I can sing, but I didn't put up my hand because I wasn't quite 12. I was 11 and a half. And you had to be 12 to do theatre. You had to be 12 to go into the theatre. Anyway, I didn't put up my hand, and Miss Muriel, our teacher, said, "You can sing, Susan George, you can sing." And I said, "I know, thank you, Miss Muriel, but I can't do this because I'm not old enough." "Oh, don't be ridiculous. It's an audition. You're not going to get it. 300 children. And that's the truth. That's what happened. I went and I got in a lot of trouble because I did win the role and I couldn't do it. And I'll leave it right there. The rest is in my book.
Oh, goodness. I can't believe she said audition. You're not going to get it anyway.
She did. Audition. Go and sing. It's good for you. Experience is good for you. So I guess in the long and torn and short of the answer to your question is that's where it all began.
Yeah.
And from there, I did movies. I went straight into my first film was actually when I was 16 years of age. Was a horror movie with Boris Karloff. And Michael Reed cast me in that. It was a small role. And it went on from there, really, one thing after another. I did a very small performance. If you would have blinked, you'd have missed it, in $1 Billion Brain, where I met Michael Caine for the first time, and I was only 14. And I had one scene on a train where I spoke in Russian. That's all I did. That's all I did. I learned my Russian line, parrot fashion, and I had, in my pigtails, I said my line, and that's how I met Michael in the beginning, who, of course, after that, Michael and I did 2 films together when I was all grown up, and when I was allowed to call him Mr. Kane as opposed to Michael.
Oh, fantastic. And did you ever feel starstruck at any time when you were working with someone? Did you ever think, oh my goodness, it's Dustin Hoffman? Or was it all just totally normal, all just a job?
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question. I think it is your job, and it's what you expect. I mean, if anything, I should have been in shudders for the fact of Sir Laurence Olivier, because I was grateful to call him Larry. I don't wish to be, but that's what I called him. And working with him was just amazing. And hearing about his life and his children, and he used to sing to me on the way back from lunch. We'd walk up the street together and he'd sing to me, and I'd sit at his knees when he was sitting in a chair, and it's just, I can't tell you what an experience that was. But you don't preempt those things. You don't think, oh my goodness, I'm going to be meeting. It's really turn up for work and meet who's there and who you're going to be playing opposite. I mean, with Dustin, he had just finished The Graduate, and I had seen The Graduate, and I loved The Graduate, and I thought he was the sexiest thing. I really, really did. I thought he was amazing in The Graduate. So when I auditioned for, and then indeed lots of auditions, and then a film test for Straw Dogs, I most definitely knew who Mr. Hoffman was. And when I met him for the first time, that was quite a big deal, to say the least, in a room with a lot of producers. And I met him for the first time, and then I read with him, which was lovely. And I think he and I had an instant communication, an instant line of friendship and oldness, like we'd known each other for years. Even though I was 20 and he was 10, 11 years older than me, there was still a real connection, a chemistry with him, which I think really was established on screen. And I think that's what makes movies and performances so special, when there's a real connection and real, that's really important in any film. So meeting him, yes, was an important day in my life for all sorts of reasons.
And do you think chemistry can be created? I mean, you said that was instant. I assume that doesn't happen every time when you meet the person you're starring opposite. Can that be something that can be worked on by the two of you?
100%. Yeah, 100%. You can definitely work on chemistry and make something. It's not reality, is it? Anyway, we're playing a role. Whoever's playing a role opposite me, we are playing roles. So you can definitely make that chemistry. I think it's just something very special when it's there from the start. And when you don't know what it is. You know, it's the same thing, isn't it? When you meet someone, when you meet anybody, and there's an instant chemistry, and you just know you're going to get along with that person. And sometimes, you know, they're not, and often they're not a bit like you. That's I think opposites really, really do attract. And goodness knows, Dustin and I, we had a field day with our opposites. We were so opposite in so many ways, you know, in so many ways. I'm an instinctive actress. He was a method actor. We worked completely differently, but we really understood one another. And I think that's the important part about it, is probably understanding as much as chemistry. And as you say, no, you can definitely create it. I definitely created it with people that I didn't have chemistry with. 100%, 1,000%, I promise you, over the years. Definitely.
And with regards to learning your lines and working on scenes, do you ever do that together with the people that you're working with, help each other out with lines, or is that something that you go away and do separately and then come together for rehearsals?
Well, that's twofold. You do it separately and with other people maybe, and on your own and at home. But in the case of Dustin and I, they had just built 2 beautiful new dressing rooms at Twickenham Studios. They were brand new for Dustin and I coming in. And it was like a flat with a middle door. So we could go through to each other and have a cup of tea and read. And that's what we did a lot. It was a big script, lots to read. And we did that quite a bit. We did quite a bit of rehearsing, just reading through and changing lines and working with David C. Goodman, the writer, how we were going to change, construct things, make things different, learn about each other. The interesting thing that Peckinpah did was he insisted that we went on a train to Penzance, to St. Ives, where we were going to be making the film. And Sam Peckinpah insisted that we all went down early, Dustin and I, so that we could actually spend time with one another, because this relationship in the film starts when there is a breakdown in this marriage and it's going horribly wrong. And we know that from the start. So what you need to do with that is really know the person, know how to push the buttons, what things make people react, if you can get a smile or indeed an anger or turn a point or get something back unexpected. And if you do that, and if you work with somebody and you learn a lot about them, you learn how to push those buttons. And that's really, really important for a one-to-one relationship. And as I say, at the beginning of the film, their relationship is really struggling. And we worked on what it might have been before and why it had gone wrong. And when I'm saying this, it's interesting that I'm hearing me say this, because I've just told you I'm instinctive and he's a person who works it all out. Normally, I am instinctive, but in this particular instance, we did a lot of work on what might have been going into the story, which I think was really powerful and important, because poor Dustin was against this whole army of young men that wanted his wife. And she wanted Dustin. She wanted him, the character. That was the whole point. It was such a bizarre... I love the relationship part. I talked to Sam Peckinpah about this many times. I said, in a way, this was a love story, which nobody could see but me. But it was a love story, really, a love story that had gone horribly wrong. And Amy was trying to convince him that she was trying to tell him what he could do to keep her, to win her over when all these other people were trying to take her away from him. And she was desperately trying to hang on. And he couldn't see it. He just couldn't see it. I always remember that. I think in the film, there's a moment when the cat has been killed, which is absolutely a disaster, and she's so desperate about it. And they don't know who's done it, but he suspects, we all suspect, the audience suspects it's the boys. And she's trying to get him to confront them. She's trying to get him to fight for her. And he doesn't. And so she brings in, it's a wonderful scene. It's one of the most important scenes in the movie that I still remember. And that's, she brings in a round bowl of milk in the middle of the tea party, in the middle of the boys being there and Dustin. She brings in a round bowl, a cat bowl of milk, and she plonks it on the table. And he sees it, and he knows exactly what she means by it. The gang don't know, but he knows, but he won't go there for her. He won't go there. He won't ask the question, does anybody know about our cat? Could this have been you? He won't ask the question. And she tries to get it subtly out of him. Please fight for me. Please just fight for me. He doesn't, and it ends in disaster, as you know.
It's so important, isn't it? I mean, it sounds really obvious, particularly me saying it to you, but you can tell the difference when you're watching someone doing a performance, whether it's on television or on the stage. The difference, and it's a huge difference, between someone who's just reciting their lines and saying the words and isn't really feeling it. You know, you can feel the power of a performance when you're moved to tears or moved to laughter, and you're believing, you're forgetting that you're watching Susan George, and you know that you're watching this other person. You're totally into the character, and it's such a horrible difference when you think, yeah, they're not very good. They're not really. It's a strange thing, isn't it?
Oh, bless your heart. Well, that's you as the audience. Yes, I understand that. I do understand that. I think It's so important that you're believable. That's the most important thing. And if you feel it, as you say, you can't not be believable. You can't not be. You have no way out. You know, that's it. You are what you are. I did something just recently, which I was so thrilled about. I did a very, very small role, a cameo role on a television series. I haven't done something on screen for the longest time. And then the BBC asked if I would do this, a small role in Beyond Paradise, this fabulous series on television on BBC. Last year, they asked me in September if I would do it. And I said to my agent, who was desperate for me to work, he wanted me to go back to work. As he says, it's the thing I do best. And in actual fact, I know it's what I do best. I've just had so much else fulfillment in my life in other areas that I've just gone off and done all those other things, you know. But when asked to do this, I suddenly thought, well, yeah, why not? That's exactly what I thought. Why not? And I went and did this, and it was a tiny role. But the interesting thing is that I didn't want people to really talk about it because it was so small. And I thought people might be disappointed because they might think it was something much bigger, you know. So you're right when you say about feeling. And I am very, very much outside the box. When I look at my work, I always look at me as someone else. I don't know that person on screen. I really don't. You know, that's someone else. And I judge the person I'm looking at. So when this came out on television, I was at home that night on my own. And I knew that the episode was on that night. And I switched on and I looked and I saw me. I saw me do this little role. And what was so interesting really was that I saw me as this person and I believed. That's all I can say. For the time that I was on screen, I believed this person was this person. And it was really genuine. That's all I can say. So I came away having watched it thinking, well, you know what? It doesn't really matter the screen time. It matters what you do in the screen time.
Definitely.
And that's what I came away thinking, you know. And it was really special because it's encouraged me, definitely made the stepping stone for me to realize this is what I do best. And I now have a time in my life when I have more freedom, although I have an awful lot of work on. And I know you know that because you've been trying to get hold of me. But I know I'm constantly occupied with the horses, with my things and others, with our new shop, with the advertisements for it, with the charity Lasting Life, with 2 books that I'm writing, with the book on photography, and the other book is about my life. Well, the photography book's about my life too, in pictures, the one I told you about with Brian Harris. But I'm doing all these things, but I actually know that I have an opening for the right role when the right role comes along. And I am doing a film I think it's been put back to October, but I'm doing 3 days on something quite important that I can't really tell you about right now, but I'll be able to. I'll come back and tell you about when I do it. But yes, I've got the bug again.
Oh, that's
I have
great.
The bug again.
That's great. I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased to hear that. That's wonderful. And how lovely to be so busy. And it's all things that you love. You know, that's the other thing. Really, Absolutely. Really blessed, really, really lucky, really great to be doing all these things that you enjoy, that you care about, that you're passionate about, that you're good at. Really wonderful.
Oh, bless your heart. It is. It's my life is completely filled with happiness. It really is. Every life has its ups and downs. There's no question. It would be totally wrong to say there aren't moments when it all goes wrong. This morning it all went wrong. There was a water leak on the farm and the farmers came screaming at me. So I know when things go wrong, they can go wrong.
Yeah.
But, you know, basically I love my life. I love what I do. I love my horses. I'm about to put some pictures up on Instagram because at the weekend I have quite a number, in fact, 12 pure white horses. Once they weren't pure white. A lot of them start chestnut and they go white over time. But I now have this incredible herd of all white horses. And I went out a couple of days ago And a girlfriend of mine took pictures of me with the white horses, and I took pictures of me with this beautiful herd. And I thought, I pinch myself for how fabulous that is, how lucky I am. They're all older mares, and I shall look after them until the end, and they are my family. I'll work hard for them because it's expensive to keep them. And I said to someone this morning, and I really mean this, I'd sooner see food in their troughs than I would on my table. That's the all-important thing, and it's keeping and caring for them in my life. And I shall work my life through to care for them. That's a really important thing for me.
That's
and
lovely.
If acting is a part of that and I can enjoy it at the same time, well, that's a win-win situation, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Well, Susan George, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you again. I'm sure we'll do it again when your next book is out and the film is out and all that. We'll have lots more to talk about. But lovely to chat with you. And yes, keep in touch.
Bless you. I love to share with your audience. I really do. And I'd love to hear from some of them when they've seen and heard. It would be lovely.
Fantastic.
That would be lovely. Lovely to talk to you too, darling. Absolutely.
Thank you,
Have
Susan.
a great day.
You take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. God bless.